In this episode of Man vs. Marriage, what is holding you back? The secret to accomplish all you've dreamed for. A whole new world. A new fantastic point of view. I wish I could remember some of the stuff from The Greatest Showman, but this is an episode you do not want to miss if you're ready to overcome all the things that are holding you back. We will be right back. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you watching the podcast on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever you might see it, now is the time to change your life. Welcome back to another episode of Man vs. Marriage. I'm Quincy Moran, your host in the Moran family studio with my lovely wife who joins me now on the Man vs. Marriage studio stage. Honey, how are you?
I'm good.
Excellent. I'm good as well. I've had one energy drink in 8 weeks, and now I'm about to make it 2. So getting a little of that first form energy, life energy into me, and I feel it starting to ramp up. And I feel good, like I knew that I would. All right, guys. For those of you that do not know, if you're new to the program, Jeanne and Quincy here. Married 25 years, going on 26, 8 children. I don't know what you're supposed to call your kids when they're all almost adults, but we have those. And, man, our youngest at this point in time when it's when this is being recorded, our youngest is getting ready to graduate high school and head off to college, which means we'll still have 7 of our 8 children at home. But my wife, Jeannie, tell the people who you are and what you do.
I'm your wife. I'm their mom. And I'm an author. That's it.
Well, you're the love of my life. You could add that in.
Hey, it's better when you say it.
You are the love of my life. And I am a husband. I'm a man of faith, a husband, a father, friend to almost everybody I know. And the creator of this particular podcast. And I'm going to give you a piece of advice if you are working to get on the show. Don't just read the show notes and pretend like you listened to the episode and reach out to Quincy and Coach Rita. Because Coach Rita hasn't done the program in about 5 years. It cracks me up, and I try not to be rude, but it's like, no, you're not doing that. Matter of fact, there was recently someone who wanted to get on the podcast, and I was like, oh, I like what I'm reading, until this particular individual said the Egyptian god Isis appeared to her. And I said, I'm probably going to pump the brakes on that. Anyway, let's talk about what's going on tonight. Before we get started, if you are watching the program, then you will see this particular banner. I like that look on your face. This particular banner pop up, which is our email address. It is Quincy at MVSMpodcast.com. Now, listen quickly. Do you want to enter the Man vs. Marriage sweepstakes? And what are the sweepstakes? We're giving away some free swag so that you can go out and you can get into the marketplace and you can rep, like one of our listeners, Jack, who got his gear and wore it to the gym. I love it. You know who you are. Well, he's been on the program. His name is Andrew. And, yeah, he's out there rocking the brand, which I love. He even got one of these sweet hats. So all you got to do is email Quincy at MVSMpodcast.com, and I will put you in the sweepstakes. There really are no rules. You're going to email in, and we're going to draw you at random. And then if you win, we'll give you an offer code over at quincymoran.com/apparel, where you'll go and pick out your shirt. And it's going to be that easy. So email Quincy at MVSMpodcast.com. For those of you who listen to the audio, God bless you. And bless you guys who watch the video too. It is QUINCY at MVSM, like Man versus Marriage, podcast.com. Come on down. And I won't limit you to just the Man versus Marriage clothing line. I've got the Quincy Moran clothing line out there, the Family Famous. So it's all out there. Coming soon is going to be the Ink Pastor line, where I'm very excited about that, but I can't figure out what the flagship logo is going to be for it. So I've got to get that down.
Grandpa's face with a silly mustache.
That'd be a great print. That would be a great print.
He started it.
That's Ink Pastor? Family Famous is already there. It's branded. But Inked Pastor is going to be different.
I would still use Grandpa.
Yeah, that's got to be a shirt. It has to be.
Still use Grandpa.
It has to be a shirt. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for listening. And here's a quick lesson that I taught one of my daughters today. And maybe it's where you find yourself. And it's afraid to fail. Being afraid to fail. And she's talking about why she doesn't want to take a promotion, or why she doesn't try to do things more ambitiously. I'm just paraphrasing what we're talking about. And I told her, I said, listen, the only person holding you back is you. Because what I've come to find out after all this time is that everybody's nervous. Everybody has doubt. Everybody is afraid. It's the people who do it anyway. Because if you try and fail, you really haven't lost anything. Tell me, what do you lose if you try and fail?
Nothing. You learn.
It's true. I mean, through failure, and my buddy Craig has a great poem, which I should read on this broadcast, and I probably will. But you don't lose anything. If anything, like you say, you get a significant amount of experience and wisdom. But what if you win? What if you accomplish it? And so there can be any number of reasons why you're afraid to try. And you have to, I'm telling you directly, like I told her, stop being a coward. Stop being a coward. And the idea is like, yeah, but this is the way it always was when I was 8. So it's just the way it's going to be. I said, listen, and this may sound like elementary. You're not 8 years old anymore. You're living through a past version of you that only exists now because you let it. Realize that you are an adult now. And so what you have and where you go is your choice. It is up to you. So don't be a coward. And that in my mind, it's like the last episode, preaching to the choir. Do it afraid. I said, listen, with your family goals in 10 or 15 or 20 years, if you do this and you fail, how consequential is it going to be in the next 10 to 15 or 20 years when you have your family? This little failure is not going to matter. It's going to be inconsequential, except for the lessons you take from it. But imagine what the success will feel like, and you will carry that with you. So stop being a coward and go for it. And I'm certain that someone out there listening needs to hear that. And I want to tell you, stop being a coward. I don't use the language that, Joe Rogan or Andy Frisella uses, but they call it your inner B word. you've got to conquer that. You have to overcome that. You have to tame that and put it in check. And everybody has it, no matter how confident somebody looks on the outside. Everybody's got it. Thoughts?
None. I'm just listening to you.
No, I need your thoughts. I mean, you struggled to get your first book published for 5 or 6 years.
I did.
So I need to hear from
And
you.
it still has a lot of failure attached to it. It's out, but it's not the way I wanted it out. It still needs to be fixed again, but it's out. I mean, goal 1 accomplished. Took several years, but we got there. I don't know. I still struggle with it. But at this point, I've already proven I can do it. So
Yeah, how many times have you proven you can do it?
we're on number 4 now.
Yeah. And the hardest thing for you was getting past you.
Oh, it still is. Well, getting past me and getting past making time work the way I need it to work for what we're doing. But that's all.
Here's the thing, though, about the time. That's outside of your control.
Some of it is, yeah.
All of it is with our lifestyle. All of it's outside of your control. But you getting past you is 100% within your control.
Yeah.
Because you are the only one who can make the decision to do it anyway. When it comes to time, you have a significant number of factors working against you.
Yes and no. There are things that I'm choosing to do and sacrifice my writing for. There's a difference. I know people who I have to do this for work, or I have to do this to get this deadline. So they will miss things in their kid's life, or they will miss family events, or they will miss because they have to hit the deadline, or they have these things that they have to do. I started to feel the same way, and then I realized where we are. This is the last senior year.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last prom, the last, awards night, the last ROTC event. This is the end of one era.
The last high school senior event. The last high school ROTC event, because there are more in the future.
There are, but what I was looking at was for many years, the kids didn't do a lot of the things they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't afford for them to do it. And it was really difficult to take 8 kids to sporting events when they are little and to try and manage all of that is us in a sporting event. But now we're in a place where I don't want to miss the big moments. When your kid texts you from school and says, "Mom, I'm getting an award for senior night on Friday," and senior night, award night is Monday, you shift gears to be there for that night. So I did a lot of moving my schedule, like with your surgery. I could have killed myself trying to stay up long hours of the night and then trying to work during the day and take care of you and take care of the kids and do the things that I wanted to do. And I did honestly try to swap my schedule to work at night. My age and our lifestyle does not allow me to stay up that late all the time anymore. Not for a bunch of days in a row. But I had to reevaluate where the need was.
Yeah, well, here's why I'm pushing back on you. Because you're not wrong necessarily. But still, those things you mentioned are things you get to choose. They're outside of your control, but you get to choose them.
Mm-hmm.
The main factors I'm talking about that are outside of your control that make it more difficult for you, not to give you an excuse, but just to provide reality, is autism and the sleep.
Insomnia.
And that is, it may not be significant in like the number of issues, but it is significant in the impact that it makes on your writing schedule.
Yeah.
It's significant with the impact it makes on your sleep or the lack thereof. It's significant with your ability to be able to focus. Like if you don't have the support that you need to look after them, then writing is just, it's near impossible.
Yeah.
Like we can't do what we do without the support of our young ladies here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do what I do without your support. So that's the reason that I brought that part up. And for you, you know, was it done perfectly? Was the book out exactly how you want it? No.
No, but I have the option, and I have it set in a schedule to come back and fix it and make it what I want it to be. But for right now, it's not priority.
Right. And the thing is that as much as you could talk about that it wasn't perfect, the fact is that it was produced and it got out there. And the chips continued to stack against you. Some you stacked against you,
Mm-hmm.
and then others, some editors stacked against you. And so when you take a step back and you look, the barrier to you accomplishing your goals was you. It's your inner dialogue. It is your limiting belief. Thank you, Julia Gentry. It is your lack of faith in what God has given you. It's all these things because we justify and talk ourselves out of the things that are best for us. But you pushed through and you got it done. And then one book, it took you 6 years. I mean, you ended up flip-flopping which book comes out first, but it took you 6 years to get past it. And now, I mean, it wasn't even a year and you had 2 books.
3.
Right, I'm saying 2 books out, which makes 3. And now you're preparing to release more. And so that's where I take a step back at and look and say, I couldn't be more proud of what you've done. You are truly taking this head on. This is something that you've wanted to do since we got married, let's say that, to be an author. You had a great book started and it got lost or broken on a floppy disk. And I used to listen to you, write and read your stories to me, and I thought they were great then. So the only thing, you the listener, Quincy Moran, Jeannie Moran, the only thing that really limits your momentum is you. You or we tend to get in our own way. I'm not saying be so ambitious that you run over everybody in your way. But we must develop the muscle to do it afraid. We must develop the courage to step forward and do it anyway when we are afraid. Because that's the only way that change is going to happen. That's the only way that these things that are a calling in your life are going to happen. I guarantee you, look, I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was asking, he was like, oh, I saw that you were on this call, but you've got so much of this business, you don't even need to be on this call. And I was like, I understand what you're saying, but if I look at Kobe Bryant's work ethic, one of the greatest of all time, if I look at the story I heard about Steph Curry, who's another professional basketball player, and how many shots he's taken every day for X amount of time, and he is one of the top field goal. He has one of the top field goal percentages in all of basketball history. He takes like 500 shots a day. at any point in time, he could kind of relax on what it is that he's accomplished. But that's not what people who seek to embrace life and to accomplish the things that they are put here to do, that's not the mentality that they work through. And so it's incredibly important that us with this podcast, you with your authorship, whoever you are out there listening, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's as a parent, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your church, or whatever, that you realize that the only thing holding you back is you. The beauty of that, there's pain in that, but the beauty in that is that you have the opportunity to make different choices. And you are a product of your choices. That is what you are. How do I know that? Because that is what I am. And look, the things don't always go our way. But that doesn't mean we stop. You just continue with you embrace consistency. And you do, like I've always done this podcast, like millions of people are listening, even from the first show. You can go back to 000. I've always done it like everybody's watching and everybody's listening, because in my heart, I want to make the proper impact on people. And there have been times where it's hard to get on the microphone. We just talked about it because you and I are going through something in our relationship. But I'm committed to get on the microphone and share our journey. And if I was concerned that, I had to be perfect in order to present this information, I probably wouldn't do it. But I recognize that I'm not perfect. I recognize that my intentions are pure and my motivations are pure. And I'm going to get on here and I'm not going to be someone that I ain't. The last podcast that we put out, I said, people get on and the preacher starts talking and he's preaching to the choir. I went a step further and said I was preaching to the mirror because I wasn't acting, I was hurt. I wasn't acting appropriate to my values. I wasn't acting in accordance with who I said I was going to be. And it was a challenge for me. And that weekend at church, God is good enough to say, hey, you need to look at this. And so I did. So when it comes to things that you want to accomplish, you can get a case of the yabbits. Well, why don't you do that? Yeah, but I can't. Or yeah, but this is happening. Or yeah, but that's happening. And you can make any number of excuses. And you can victimize yourself to justify. And maybe some of your claims are justified. Like if Jeannie never wrote another book, she could be justified because our adult children that are disabled with autism make life very difficult sometimes. And writing is not something that you can do a little, walk away. You always have to come back to what the story is. I have a trouble sometimes doing it with email, and you're writing a novel. So, sure, you would be justified if you decided to lay your writing down and not do it anymore. But that's not what you feel you're called to. That's not what is in your heart. Your heart is to be an author and to get these books and these stories out and use the creative gift that God has given you to put it out in the market. And it's not easy, and that is okay. Nothing, when you came into this world, nothing gave you the guarantee that things were going to be easy. And we as people tend to seek comfort. Like, we want to be comfortable. But what is really accomplished in comfort? Like, what great thing is accomplished in comfort? I don't know. The ability to relax? Okay, that's good to a point. But chances are, I mean, you've found this podcast, and if you stick around, you and I share some of the same values. Maybe you share some of the same values with Jeannie, and Jeannie and I share some of the same values together. And so I want to press on you today to say, what exactly is it that you continue to make excuses about and you're not taking chances on? And anytime I get behind the microphone, there's always a mirror. Anytime I preached a message at church, there was always a mirror. Anytime I teach people in my current career, there's always a mirror, because I've got to be willing to live what I say. I've got to be willing to take on the very message that I'm delivering. Because if I don't, what does that make me? It's pretty simple. This particular show is going in a totally different direction.
I've been thinking that this whole time, but I was going to let you keep doing what you're doing.
Okay. We'll probably have to take this episode and make it another one. But I
Just
would
have to edit and change the.
Yeah, I'll just change it. I'll change it. It's not a big deal. But I believe that many people that I associate with, I think you kind of get a good snapshot of society, if you will. We do, because we have such a large number of children.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all at different phases in their life. And so one of our other daughters had been talking about wanting to work with kids. Like, she's got a job now that she could turn into a career, and she would blow the doors off of it. And she could rise up, and she could be making tons of money in the corporate level of this particular job. She has that skill set. She's got that talent. She has the work ethic. Mm-hmm. But she wants to work with little kids. And so I said, hey, listen, one of the cool things about church is that they're always needing help, because the majority of the people are volunteers. So they always need help in what they're doing. And what better place to go and start working with little kids? Practice. You get to practice for free, and you love little kids. And so, we had talked about it a few times, and then one of the next times we go to a bigger church. So, you can kind of just shuffle out and people won't notice if you don't take initiative. Mm-hmm. And so we were walking out, and I said, hey, you want to go to the information desk and ask and see if they know? And she's like, okay, yeah. So we went, and the lady was like, I'm new, I don't know, but go over to that desk and talk to them, and I'm sure they can get you there. So we went there. Now, that's an opportunity right there for you to get in your own way and go, ooh, maybe next time. But we didn't. We went to the next one, and I was there to kind of partner and pull her through it. So we went to that one and was like, hey, she wants to volunteer. She goes, oh, I'm not the person to talk to, but I know the person for you to talk to. And at that point, you can feel like you're putting somebody out, and there's another opportunity for you to walk away from what's in your heart. And the next thing you know, she comes out and gets us, and we go and we meet this lady, Miss Christie. Really sweet lady. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, I know who to get you in touch with. Because she's like the coordinator, but she doesn't, hire the volunteers or bring them in or whatever. And then the next thing you know, she name, number, here it is. The lady who coordinates the volunteers gets in touch with her. They connect really well. She gets in her, in her first class with the kids, and she's thrilled, and she loves it. And right now, she's in a phase where she's in a part of her life where she's starting to try and step out and do things on her own. Mm-hmm. I mean, even as much as like, she doesn't like to go to the store alone. There are things that she doesn't like to do alone, but she needs to go ahead.
She's a multiple So from the beginning, she has never done anything really alone. And that's one of those things that um, I think they all struggle with to a degree is, the triplets they were all separate. They all had different things going on when they were first born. And although they are three together, they were all very separated, very different.
They were separated at birth, for sure.
These two have been like this from day one.
Yeah, they weren't even separated in the NICU. They were together.
They were separated in the NICU, and then when we went and got the shunt placed and brought her back, they put them back together because when we were down at UCLA, she thrived really well with kangaroo care. She thrived really well with touch and having connection. And when they brought her back to our home hospital, she wasn't doing so well the first couple of days. And one of the nurses said, well, we have a bigger incubator. Let's put them together. And every time we saw them, they were touching fingers, holding a toe. They were just connected. And they've been that way their whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, to this day, I have pictures, like one of them's getting ready to go through oral surgery. I guarantee you the other one is going to be cuddling up to her and making her feel better over the next few days. It's just what they do. Mm-hmm. But they're both in a place where they want similar things, but they want to do it by themselves. But then when they get done at the end of the day, they still come back together, and it's like they never spent any time apart. But I think for her, she wants to try and be a little more independent and see what she can do. She gets nervous when she goes to stores and goes places by herself. People approach her out of nowhere, and it makes her very uncomfortable. So she's trying to come out of that and learn how to take care of herself and be more confident in herself. I commend her for it because I didn't do things by myself for a really long time.
Yeah, and that's something that's important, and it may be a simple lesson. Maybe a simple lesson for those of you that are listening, and somebody who's 19 years old is trying to work on becoming more confident and gaining independence. But there's some form or version of that for you as well. And so I think it's important. I don't want to say I think. I believe it's important for us to take these types of examples and look at our own lives and say, is this me? Say, am I the one holding myself back? Am I justifying not taking the next step in whatever it is I'm endeavoring to accomplish? Am I depending so heavily on other people that I'm allowing that to get in the way of my progress?
I have to do that because when Andy came in to stay with me for the weekend, I'm not used to doing things without you. And so it was a struggle for me to separate, not because I can't do things without you, but I just felt like this is odd. This doesn't feel right to me to not have everybody together. But there were personal things that this is just not a good scenario for all three of us to be together at the moment. And I didn't want anybody to be uncomfortable, but I mean, it hurt me because I'm not used to not having you. And then when we went and did the Dallas signing in Frisco, it still felt weird. I took on a different role because normally when we go do something, especially doing something new, I'm usually really anxious. I'm usually the person that needs somebody else to make me feel stable. And it's usually you. I don't like being in crowds. I don't like being with people. So I go to a signing with 600 people. Why not? But this time my role was I'm what we call the handler. I have to keep her on task. I have to keep certain people and things out of her orbit so that we can accomplish the goals that we had. And it was a different experience for me. Some of it was positive, some of it was negative. I learned a lot of things about myself real fast. I still don't like to do things on my own, but I have to step out of that because there are going to be times where you're not going to be able to go with me for some of this stuff, and if you're not there and I have to rely on Andy or somebody else, I might have to take one of the girls. I have to be able to function and teach somebody and be able to rely on somebody that's not you. But I also have to be able to rely on myself. If I have to go by myself, I have to go by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I put the money out to be there, I don't want to pull the money just because I'm not comfortable going by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big change when you're so used to being dependent on somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, it truly is. And there's plenty of things that you do, in my mind, that you do on your own.
Not in public. I'm not good on my own with people. I don't think.
I mean, if I just take a step back and look at, the stuff you've done at the school to advocate for the kids, you handled that well. If I look at the stuff you've done in the times where I wasn't able to be there, a lot of it just the routine, like doctor's appointments and things of that nature, even though some of them, were difficult to manage, you're able to do those things.
But it's not for myself. That's the difference. Doing things where it's like being Andy's handler. I had a job. I had something specific that I'm supposed to do for someone else. For you, for the kids, easy.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Very easy for me. If somebody told us, your kid doesn't qualify for XYZ, I would bust my ass to prove, oh, yes, they do. Because that's robbing our kid of something that's necessary. That's not for me. That was for them. But when it's for myself, I struggle with it. I mean, that's why I understand why when she says she wants to start doing things by herself, for herself, I get it. Because if she goes to the store, she goes with her bestie or she goes with her sister. If she needs to go get something done on her car, she takes someone with her. If she needs to go, get gas in her car, she takes someone with her. So she's slowly pulling back from that and doing things for herself. But now if you were to say, I need you to go to the store to do something, she would go by herself, no problem. If it's for me, she can go do it.
Well, she still struggled to do that until recently.
But if it's for herself,
yeah,
it's the same thing. It's like, I want to do this, but because it's for me, it's really easy to just be like, it's okay, I don't have to do it. Really easy.
So I would just ask you all to take a look in the mirror and just truly put some time aside to look at what is it in your life. When it comes to my career, I struggled with a significant amount of lack of confidence, lack of self-confidence for whatever reason. And this is not to be braggadocious, but people around me would say, oh, you this, oh, you that. And I held myself back.
Because you believed you weren't good enough.
Very true. And so if there's something that's going on in you, and I think this is probably the jewel in this entire episode, even though there's a lot of important things that we've discussed, and I believe it's helping people in this episode in particular. But here's the jewel. The jewel is that if you find yourself justifying why you're not doing things or making excuses for why you're not doing things, or blaming other people for the reason you can't accomplish things that are within your control, that's telling you that there obviously is a deeper issue, and you need to get to the root of what it is. Like, I was able to get to the root of why I felt like I didn't matter. I don't matter, or I want to matter. Get to the root of I'm not good enough. That is the jewel in this moment, because if there's an idea, and let's just use this as an example, and then we'll close out here pretty quick. And this is something that held me back for a long time. And I'm thankful now, because through God's help and through a lot of hard work, intentional hard work, my confidence is built. Now, it's not necessarily built primarily in me. It's built because my relationship with God has developed in such a way because of his faithfulness, and what I would say my faithfulness to continue to allow him to challenge me and to grow. But also through building internal credibility, which is keep a promise to yourself, keep a promise to yourself, keep a promise to yourself. And then you know that you've become someone that you can count on. And if you are someone you can count on, then you will be someone other people can count on. And you know, the third leg of what really changed that for me was Ed Milet. And he's saying all too often people put their confidence in the outcome, which in the outcome you don't have any control over. But if you allow your confidence to be built on what your intentions are and what your motivations are, you can be extremely confident in that. So I know my intentions in what I'm doing is to make people better, whether it's at home, it's on the podcast, it's at work. I know that. It's very clear within me. That is my intention. And my motivations are to accomplish God's good and perfect will for my life and to help spread his love and his message, those through everything I do. That is my motivation. And I know that's pure. It's not selfish for me in any way. It's pure. So I can take a step back and look at that and go, okay, Lord, thank you for building my confidence. Quincy, good job at keeping promises to yourself and becoming someone that you can count on so other people can count on. And then, oh, wow, look at this. If I base my confidence on what my intentions are and what my motivations are, I'm the one who knows better than anybody if those are pure or if they are not. Is it selfish ambition or is it pure? And so the story I'll tell you very quickly is about this I'm not good enough thing in my life. And thank the Lord for Julia Gulia, a.k.a. Julia Gentry, because she helped with an exercise for me to discover what is the root of this issue. Because what happens if you cut a tree, but you leave the stump? It grows back because the life-giving mechanism is in the root system. So you have to dig it out, get the roots of it out in order to remove whatever that growth or whatever that thing is in your life. So what I do at 5 years old, I remember like very distinctly being in the back of a station when I was at my Aunt Linda's house that day. A lot of family around, really didn't know what was going on, just watching TV. Wanted to go outside and play, couldn't go outside and play, had to sit there next to my kid brother. Well, we load up in the station wagon, my grandpa's there, my mother's in the front seat, my sister and my brother Josh, middle seat. Christy's crying. Josh is crying because Christy's crying. And then I'm there, I'm going, what the heck's going on? My mother's crying. My family up outside is crying. And there goes my dad. He shows up, and he's got 3 paper sacks They have candy, fruit, whatever on them. It's like, hey, there's Dad. So he comes, he gives us the stuff, and then we're getting ready to leave, but he's not coming with us. I'm like, what? What's this all about? So we leave. My parents divorce. Our life changes forever. And in that moment, I didn't realize it, but for some reason, the lie came into my life that, Dad, why wasn't I good enough for you to fight for our family? Mom, why wasn't I good enough for you guys to fight for your relationship? And I made a situation that wasn't about me, which is probably natural because I was 5. And as I grew up, it's like this thing takes root in you. So you have some experiences and it quells, but then you get to another place in your life and it's had time to grow and it rears its ugly head. And so you keep going through these cycles of, I'm not good enough, so I need to prove to people that I'm actually good enough so they want me to stick around. So then I become a people pleaser. And that's a whole nother painful experience because you're constantly chasing people, and you may be chasing people out of your life, but the people that stick around, you're doing so much to please them so they won't leave that you're actually building resentment in your life because they may not necessarily be as invested as you are. They may even take advantage of that. And so when I discovered it, I was like, oh my Lord, I've been believing a lie. I don't matter. That's when my parents got divorced. I wasn't good enough for them to fight for their relationship, which it had nothing to do with me. And when I saw those lies, it made sense why I was doing what I was doing. And so that's the jewel in this whole piece. Number one, as I said early on, you have to stop being a coward. Just flat out. Whether it's harsh or not, it doesn't matter. Somebody needs to tell you the truth in love. And I promise you, whether I know you personally or not, I used to be you. I love you. And I want you to hear it from somebody who cares. You have to stop being a coward. Life is too short for you not to step forward to try your best to accomplish the great things that God has prepared for you in this gift of life. But number 2, like Bill and Rita used to talk about all the time, our former pastors and our marriage coach, why do you do what you do? Why are you stuck in these cycles? And so when you get to the root of the issue in your life, now you have a choice. And the choice is to put some more dirt and cover the stump and deal with it later, or to excavate it. And when you excavate it, it leaves a hole. So you must fill it with something. What are you going to fill it with? If you're intelligent, if you're smart, if you do what's best for you, you're going to fill it full of good, healthy dirt, soil, however you want to say it. So that's the jewel in this. And so my prayer would be that you would put this together. You would take this true to life example from someone who has walked the path, from someone who has struggled with, these lies in my own life. Even from Jeannie, who has struggled with imposter syndrome. If you've never heard of that, there's a syndrome for everything these days, but it's a real deal. And if you have faith in your life, of course, what you're supposed to accomplish is too big for you because you can't do it alone. The beauty is you have the one who created you, the one who created the great things for you to do so that the ripple effect of what you are doing will reach other people. He has promised to do this along with you. So you do not have to be alone to do this. And it has to be bigger than you're comfortable with. And that's the part where he comes in and helps you and empowers you to go and accomplish that. But you still have to be willing to do it afraid. Because we're all scared. We're all afraid. We all have fear. But it's good to feel uncomfortable. It's good to have that fear and to do it anyway. And the amount of pride you will have, and I'm not talking about a negative part of pride that makes one fall, the amount of gratitude, let's say that you will have when you take that step forward, whether you fail or succeed, you will not be disappointed. Because in 5 or 10 years, down the road, since you tried, you will not regret trying. There's a very high probability you won't regret trying this. But I can tell you, there's a great probability that you will regret not trying it. So I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to take a look at yourself. One of our core principles is focus on the things you can affect. Take personal responsibility for your life and where you are. What excuses are you making? You know you were made to do something great. You know you were made to make an impact, and doing something great doesn't have to be grandiose on a stage to millions of people. When you think about the value of human life and the people that are within your sphere and impacting one life at a time or 2 lives or 3 lives, those things are eternal. And each life is valuable. And it is great to make a difference in someone's life in a positive way. I pray that we are doing that for you, and then you would go and pay it forward. But you're not going to do that if you continue to justify or make excuses because you are afraid. And I don't know what that is in your life, but I can tell you that I am here for you in order to help you. Use the email address, Quincy at MVSMpodcast.com, and email me. You can email me and Jeannie there because we're having some weird issue with her email, which I need to get resolved. Your final thoughts, honey. Give us your perspective as we close this thing out.
I think you've already covered it. I mean, there's really not much to add to it, if anything. Not to me.
Okay. Well, then that is it. Be sure to email us, Quincy at MVSMpodcast.com. Be sure, if you want to get in this sweepstake, raffle, I don't know what to call it. No purchase is necessary. If you want to, Quincy at MVSMpodcast.com, and just say that you want to get in the shirt drawing. Also, go over to QuincyMoran.com. If you are watching the podcast, you can see it on the screen, /apparel, and then you will see all the brands that we offer. When you get to the Man versus Marriage, this is what it's going to look like. You've got the legacy, you got the his, the hers, the lifestyle. You got all the gear you can check out. So make sure you go and do that. And I'm asking you, because we've made an impact in your life, I am asking you personally to pay it forward. I'm asking you personally to support this program. Share the show with people you know. And then go buy some of the clothing that we have so that you can go out and be a billboard for this movement, for this investment into you and your family and your legacy. And right now, I got to say, that's all I got. So I'll do some creative media stuff and change the name of this podcast. But for now, I just want to thank you for listening, and you guys that ring through and download the program and then you reach out to us. It means the world to me that you're here. And this show is for you. It's for you as an individual, as a human being. And I thank you very much for listening. So for that, she is Jeannie Moran. I am Quincy Moran, and this is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.